Hello, my name is Grace. You're gonna follow along with me as I make this dress more wedding guest appropriate because it's very, very cute. But we really do try our best not to show up in white dresses to other people's weddings. So let's get into it. First things first, put on some gloves and get your garment wet. If you've never washed the clothing item before, then I would run it through the washer, but otherwise a rinse in the sink is just fine. Squeeze out your excess water and get your container ready to go. I like using a stainless steel pot, but you really just need hot water, a container to hold the hot water, and an area you don't mind getting messy. And I like having tongs for this method too. Now, I love these Rit dyes because it is honestly really easy to dye your own clothing. I've done this with a few different clothing items, like this romper that was originally coral and now it's blue, or this dress that I couldn't stop spilling food on, so I tie-dyed it to make the food stains blend in. If your item is cotton, wool, or silk, you can use the all-purpose dye, but they also make dyes for synthetic fabrics like polyester and rayon. As per Rit instructions, we're adding salt and dish soap because they both help with the dyeing process. I'm deciding between purple or green for this dress, and I love green, so that's what we're going with. The instructions advise on how much dye to use per pound of fabric. I've always just guesstimated, and here I'm using a little bit less than recommended so I can get a lighter color on the dress. After you've combined your salt, soap, and fabric dye over low heat, your delicious soup will start to look like this. Carefully fold in your clothing item, and this is where I realized that I had too much water for the pot. But everything is an experiment, so we're going with it. You can see I was dealing with a lot of air bubbles at the start, but the color was taking immediately. Kind of like making a cheese sauce, you should stir your mixture frequently to get the dye all over the garment. Trade off letting it sit in the dye and stirring it for around 30 minutes. You can let it sit for longer, but I wouldn't do it for more than an hour. After you're happy with your soup, rinse your garment in cold water until it runs clear. You can do this in a sink or a bathtub or even outside under the hose. Then run it through the washer on a cold cycle with an old towel so it can absorb any excess dye that comes off. I let my dress air dry, and I noticed that since I had too much water and not enough fabric dye, the color was inconsistent in the bottom half, so I did a second dye bath the next day with a better ratio, and it went way better. You should not use as much water as I did the first time. After 2 dye baths, this is how the dress looks now. I'm absolutely thrilled with the color, and I cannot wait to wear this to a wedding. Thanks for stopping by. I will see you next time.